Welcome to Unveiling Death. I am Rabbi Jeffrey Weil. Eulogies are stories, a Yizkor sermon. One important Jewish ritual of remembrance is the Yizkor service, which occurs 4 times annually within certain holiday services. The word Yizkor is Hebrew for "he will remember," or better, "may he remember," meaning may God remember and protect the souls of our deceased loved ones. But Yizkor really provides us the opportunity to recite prayers for our loved ones who have died, to recite prayers for them, and to remember them. Here is the Yizkor sermon I offered on Yom Kippur 2024. I tell stories all the time. I do this through eulogies. Preparing eulogies is among the most important of my tasks as a rabbi. I have a process. It begins with a meeting with a grieving family. I am eager to sit with them. Not eager for their grief, of course, but eager for what they will share with me about their loved ones, the facts of that person's life, their insights about their characters. I have a 4-page funeral intake form with lots of questions and plenty of room beneath each question to take notes. That's how it's supposed to happen. But the conversations are discursive, and I'm writing fast. So a note about the deceased's career may end up in the family section, and a note about that person's hobbies may end up in the education section. But that is how I do it. Some families that I sit with talk a lot, and I always bring extra paper with me. We meet typically in my office or in their homes, and sometimes on Zoom. After the meeting, as I'm driving away, I'm thinking about that person who has died, and I'm pondering the story I need to tell about their lives. What is the arc of this life? What's the big idea around which I can frame this eulogy? What's the hook? Like if they died around Passover, did the deceased lead seders? If they died around the time we read in Torah, tzedek, tzedek tirdof, justice, justice, you shall pursue, was she a fighter for social justice, a lawyer, a judge? If the person died around the 9th of Av, Tisha B'Av, the saddest day on the Jewish calendar, is this loss cataclysmic? Did this person die tragically? In any event, soon I am sitting in my office or often at my kitchen table, and I take a highlighter to my notes, making bright the highlights of their lives and character. I then spread out the pages on both sides of my laptop, and I write. First, I frame it, taking care of that hook, and then I just dive in. The writing takes a while, but I am focused. I am in the zone. Although I have a basic structure for my eulogies, writing one never feels routine, for I just am completely immersed in a different world. I feel like I'm in their childhood. Were their adult selves evident when they were children? Was one able to see, when they were children, what would develop in them as their ambition, their artistry, their athleticism? Did they marry or did they not? That too is a story. How did they settle into adulthood, into their careers and family life? What were they like at home? Were they funny, strict, affectionate? What were their successes? Of what were they proud? After what did they strive? What were their struggles? All part of the story. As I write, I keep Google open for fact-checking. What was their grammar school called again? The exact name of that family business? Where was the restaurant for the first date as a new couple before they were married, and what hotel were they married in? I need these facts, and the internet is a tremendous resource. I'll also text usually a particular family member, and family members are always pleased to clarify for me. One of my Unveiling Death podcast episodes is called Obituary Writing as Ministry. That episode was a conversation that I had with Chicago Tribune's long-form obituary writer, Bob Goldsboro. Bob and I met when he called me after Neil Brief, the rabbi emeritus of my congregation, after he died. Bob Goldsboro is a religious man. He told me in the podcast episode that obituary writing is his ministry. It is his calling. Everyone, I am sure, or I hope, everyone who crafts eulogies or obituaries feels this way. For what greater honor is there in this world of 8,180,684,367 souls as of 1:13 p.m. yesterday? What greater honor could there be than to tell the grand story of the life of one of those people, of one of those souls? Every life is sacred. Everyone has a story. We gather on Yizkor to compose eulogies in our hearts, to craft obituaries in our minds for those whose stories were part of our own stories. We gather to remember the arc of their lives, to recall their influence on us, and to keep their memories, Yizkor after Yizkor, recite after recite, alive. Many thanks to my creative director, editor, and my son, Sammy Weil. Thanks to my band, the Night Owls of Chicago, for the music you are listening to right now. Please contact me at rabbiw14@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Share this and other Unveiling Death episodes with friends and family and enemies, and please follow this podcast as well. Thank you so much for listening to Unveiling Death, Eternity in about 24 minutes, every other Monday.